Greetings, citizens of the internet. This live stream doesn't seem to be working. Okay, it's working now. I just need to give people the URL because, as said in the description, I accidentally screwed this up. Now, how do I get the URL? Oh gosh. First of all, I'm going to have this chat at the side. Let's see. Oh dear. This is the new. So that was rather awkward, but it's all sorted now. I think I'll advertise this on a few Discord servers I'm in using my phone. But other than that, I think I'm ready to go now. And I also, for some reason, can't get these two tabs to appear properly side by side. So I have to do it this way instead. Like, as in, Windows has a feature that lets you show streams side by side. By the way, you can hear me. Right. Is anyone actually watching this yet? Hello? Oh, someone else has joined my voice channel. Greetings, citizens of the internet. You can call me Nitro Indigo, and welcome to my extremely riveting casual and comedic art stream. For the first time on my channel, I have a co-commentator, so feel free to introduce yourself, fabulous fish.
Hello, can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Awesome. Hey everyone, my name is Fabulous Fish, and I'm excited to be here today.
Okay, before people come in, I'm just advertising it on a few webs, on not only on Discord, but also my live stream. Once people show up and start talking in the chat, I'll explain what this stream is for.
Sure thing, sounds good to me. So I assume I'm going to be watching this on YouTube itself?
No, actually, I'm not watching it on YouTube itself, because, like, as you can see, I've got this, street. Wait, are you talking about me?
No, I mean, I'm going to be watching on YouTube.
Okay, because obviously I don't need to have YouTube open on my phone this time, because I realised I could just do this. I mean, I could have windowed The Sims 3, but A, I didn't know how to do that at the time, and B, it probably wouldn't have looked good anyway.
Yeah.
Because, like, most PC games don't look good windowed, because I'm just distracted by my desktop.
I feel that.
And
I feel that. We do a little setup thing where we have, like, the text flowing on the side there.
Okay. But Anyway, as you said in the description, I've accidentally screwed up the stream because on YouTube you usually have this problem where I'll make a stream schedule and then when I start streaming it goes like, starts a new stream and not one from the schedule page, so the schedule thing never ends up getting fulfilled and I have to delete it afterwards. And this time I figured out that if I went live from the schedule page, then I would be able, then the schedule wouldn't go to waste. So I did that, and then I thought it wasn't working properly, so I clicked stop streaming and then the live stream suddenly ended before I actually did anything. Oops.
Yeah, YouTube's streaming interface is not the most user-friendly, I've learned.
Yeah, the only reason I use YouTube to stream is A, because most of my user base is there, and B, because for some reason Twitch is really slow for me. And by most of my did I say user base or viewer base? I can't, I'm just getting words mixed up sometimes. I suppose I should start a new canvas and, hello, is anyone watching? If so, please say hi in the chat. A4 wider than it is tall. So that should be good for what I want to draw. And I also have a... Why is there a P in the corner? What is this? Oh, Pixiv. Okay, that's the Japanese art website. I've never seen that logo on Fire Alpaca before.
I think I might be a little behind on the stream, so I'm not seeing that yet.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anyone in the chat either. Let's check. I'm going to check some websites on my phone first. Actually, I suppose I should open up the 2 reference images I got as well. Hey
DP, what's up?
Oh, Depressed Unicorn's here, and I'm not I can't actually see at the moment because the this is because oh wait, no, the chat hasn't updated for me. I think I'm using the chat for the wrong stream actually.
Yeah, YouTube is very difficult to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, I also don't like this big message that appears that you can't get rid of. Let me just open the other image and... So, should I wait for a few people, more people to show up before I explain this? Because, like, Depressed Unicorn 444 knows what the first thing I'm going to be drawing is based on, but I don't think anyone else will.
My recommendation would be just take this time maybe to get the correct chat over on the side so that it's always...
Yeah, it is the correct chat now. I can see Depressed Unicorn's comment.
Oh, hasn't updated on my end. Like, watch... Oh, because I'm a minute and a half behind. That would be why. Why wasn't that... Whatever. YouTube being dumb. No. Okay, I see the P now. I don't know why it wasn't going forward to my end, but your stream was paused for me. Okay.
And also sometimes, especially on my phone, when I'm watching live streams, and premieres, there'll be a glitch where the live chat doesn't update until I exit it and go back in, and it's really annoying. And I've mentioned this in my Sims 3 streams as well. Oh, speaking of which, since I last did my stream, on Black Friday, I got The Sims 4 and have played it literally twice.
How is it so far?
I don't know, it just kind of feels a bit... shallow. Like, I'm worried that I predisposed myself to disliking it because it is generally considered to be the worst Sims game. But, like, this sounds a bit weird, but the problem that jumps out to me the most is that you start off with way too much money, so that even when you buy a house, you still have loads of money left over, so there's not much incentive to actually earn more money, which is the whole core gameplay loop of The Sims. If you don't know, core gameplay loop is basically a sequence of actions you repeat throughout a game. I first heard it from an Exo Paradigm Gamer video, and specifically his review of Spyro the Dragon, and now I'm doing digital media and games design at college.
Which is a pretty fun major, sounds like.
Yeah, and also, sort of, I do have lots of homework to do, but I've learned to pace myself, and speaking of which, instantly, I have the particle brush right now because I was making a texture in Fire Alpaca earlier for a model I made. It was just a cuboid, it wasn't anything exciting. Actually, technically, it was... Would it be a rectangular prism? Does a cuboid have to have at least 2 square faces by definition?
I wouldn't know that off the top of my head.
I don't know, I don't remember. I haven't done maths in what feels like years, but it's really only been like a year, singular. But
I have not done math since my freshman year of college. It's been a long time. Being a comm major, I was able to ditch math pretty early on. I was very okay with that.
Let's see, Craftyman Gaming seemed interested in joining this live stream, so he might show up soon, and I've advertised this in some other servers, but they still have the old links. Actually, no, I did replace it with a new link in one server, so let me just paste it into some others as well. The beginning of the stream is always the most boring part, honestly.
I feel that. Potentially stupid question, but you verified that my voice will actually show up in the stream too, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, can
Awesome.
you hear him, Depressed Unicorn 444? Also, before I did decide this stream, I listened to the Siblings song by Brian David Gilbert, or whatever his username is, or David Brian Gilbert, and now it's stuck in my head.
Oh god, what song did I have stuck in my head last night? Whew. I feel like it was like a sitcom opening song. I don't remember what it was though. That was a while ago. Awesome Unicorn can hear me.
Okay. I suppose I should start drawing now and just explain what this is all about later when more people come in.
Go for it.
Okay. So basically, I'll be drawing Rarity from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and Marth from being ridden by Marth from Fire Emblem. And me and the 3 people who are currently active in this stream right now all know what this is based on, but most people won't. So, first of all, I'm not using... This is also just to set your expectations. This is a just for fun stream. I'm not a serious art person. I do draw, just not very often. And it's not going to be the focus of my channel.
It's probably better than anything I could draw, honestly.
Oh, that was a bit of a bad circle. See, the problem is I tend to prefer drawing on paper because I have a steady hand, like a more steady hand with a pencil. Like, I have a drawing tablet, but there isn't enough space for it on my desk unless I push the keyboard back like I just did, and you might have heard that. And actually, I shouldn't have just undone that. Okay, why the button... keyboard...
I know when Katie draws, she holds the tablet, like, kind of in her lap. She doesn't really put it on just to draw.
Oh. I was about to say holds it in her other hand, and I tried to do that and then put it back once you said the rest of your sentence. Okay, this head's a bit oddly wide, and ponies don't have long ears like that. And by oddly wide, I mean it's kind of like too skinny like the heads in The Sims 2.
I say go all out. Try to make this look... It's such a ridiculous concept. Like, I say just go for it.
No, as I just said, I'm drawing with a tablet. It just looks like a cursor because that's how tablets work. It's a Wacom one. It's not anything fancy with a screen of its own. It's just a blackboard with a bunch of dots on it that represent the fact that it's got motion sensors or something. I don't really know how it works.
The way of the future. Motion sensing art tablet.
Okay. Also, do you remember the PlayStation Move? Because I literally forgot it existed until someone mentioned it in, I think it was Fabulous Fish's server the other week. And I remember this, there was this show called The Gadget Show, which I really liked when I was little, and there was an episode where they said that the PlayStation Move was better than the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, and does anyone still think that?
So, I've actually never used the PlayStation Move in person.
Neither have I.
I would be willing to believe it was more accurate than the Wii Remote, just because it came out a lot later as newer technology. But, like, it came out, like, after the motion control curve was, like, past its prime. Like, nobody cared about it when it came out, it's just kind of, like, fade into obscurity. I'd like to get one day just because I want to try PlayStation Move Heroes, because that sounds like the most pointless game to ever exist, but it has Sly Cooper, so I want to give it a chance.
What's PlayStation Move Heroes? Is that one of those like weird compilation of franchises games? Because there was a Pixar one for the Xbox Kinect.
Yeah, it's a crossover with Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, and Ratchet and Clank, like the 3 PS2 platforming heroes.
And also, DP, it hasn't actually occurred to me to use physical rulers on a drawing tablet. And also, she's supposed to look a bit unamused, but she looks kind of more sad instead.
Depressed Rarity.
Oh, hi, Laura. Okay, now that someone else is here, I suppose I should explain what the context for this is. But first, Fabulous Fish, would you like to explain what your Tomodachi Life Let's Play is about?
Oh god, where do I begin with that? First off, hi Laura, glad to have you on duty today. Second, okay, so Tomodachi Life, if you're unfamiliar with the game itself, is this very surreal life simulation game where just like weird shit happens. Specifically then, my partner and I are doing a very long series on Tomodachi Life where we're introducing a new character every episode basically. And it is. We're treating it almost like this long drama slash soap opera, and God, it's kind of just like its own deep rabbit hole. It's very hard to really explain what it's all about verbally. But one of the most recent episodes, we introduced Marth from Fire Emblem in the game, and we put him in the game as this gay misogynist because I don't know, we don't take shit seriously at all. And for some reason, Nitro wanted to draw him writing Rarity for My Little Pony. I think because a lot of people in my viewer base were assuming that one of the future characters is going to be Rarity for some reason.
Yeah, because the project plan mentioned basically mentioned that character number 37, which turned out to be Marth, would have an unnatural hair colour that's natural in their universe. And one of the teaser videos showed a me with purple hair and eyeshadow, so some people thought that was a human version of Rarity. And then when Depressed Unicorn brought that up in a secret channel on Fabulous Fish's server, I said now I want to draw Marth riding Rarity. And then I commented something similar on, but with an extra thing on the actual video, and then Fabulous Fish said he'd co-commentate it with me. I was originally planning to do another stream where I drew a banner for one of my groups on FimFiction, but I couldn't get anyone interested in it. And now someone else is going to draw that banner instead.
And also, I agree with you, Lauren, the songs are probably the best part of the game. We did an entire episode that was just a musical, as in, like, it didn't have any voiceover or commentary. It was just telling its story through the songs, and that was a very hard episode to make, and I don't think I'm going to do that again. But very fun time. It was a lot of fun to like kind of stage out the songs and like give each character unique lines that kind of fit their personality and conveyed the storyline to everyone.
I wish that when you were making songs, you could actually see which character would get each line, because I did that on my personal file once, and I just wrote in the lyrics at first that, the other person doesn't have any lines, it was a pop song. Because it just, when I previewed it, they were all sung by one me.
Oof. Yeah, that's like my biggest issue with the game. I feel like even further, you should be able to choose who has what lines.
Only if Nintendo should hire you.
I'd take it. I'd direct a Tomodachi Life sequel, and it would be the best sequel ever made.
Oh, what's Alice of Human Sacrifice?
She is pissed. Jeez, look at that pony.
So what else do you want to talk about?
Well, I was just waiting for Laura on duty to respond because you asked her a question.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it'd be rude to go on talking about something else while we're waiting for that.
Oh, also, Laura previously commented on my Sims 3 live stream. She's someone I know in real life.
Gotcha. And it's a Vocaloid song. That is amusing because I literally just bought Hatsune Miku on Switch a few days ago.
The only Vocaloid song I think I've listened to is, I can't remember what it's called, but it was this one about, about this really medieval Japanese themed one about you should give up all your worries, and it specifically mentioned a line about the 8 million worries in my heart, and in Chinese and possibly Japanese mythology, 8 million is supposed to be the number of supernatural beings that exist or something. I am not an anthropologist.
8 million supernatural beings, exactly on the dot.
I'm not an anthropologist, so I might have gotten something wrong. Please don't quote me on this.
Going back to what you said real quick about the, was it like the Tomodachi Life songs were like choosing who says what line?
Yeah.
What we did in order to perfect that was we played through every single song with every possible number of me singing it, and then jotted down who sang, like in the top row, who sang what lines. Like the first me sang this line, the second me sang this line.
Also, Rarity has a really, a twirly mane, which is really hard for me to draw from memory. I might actually have to either get another reference image or just, get some MLP merchandise I have. Specifically, the only physical My Little Pony Friendship is Magic things I own are the art book for the movie, the DVD for the movie, and the DVD for the Christmas special.
The extent of what I know about My Little Pony would probably be the one line from the theme song.
Which is...
you don't want to hear me sing.
Okay, this tail looks way too thin.
So who is Rarity? Because I should probably know who that is, given the amount of people who are guessing that upcoming character is Rarity.
Okay, Rarity is is a seamstress, which from what I know is another word for tailor, because she makes clothes, but only to order, and because ponies don't normally wear clothes, only for special occasions, and sometimes they wear hats. Like,
nudists.
Yeah. Oh my God. Actually, that reminds me. Someone joked. I saw someone joke once that Ponyville, which is where most episodes of Friendship is Magic takes place, is Equestria's local nudist colony because ponies are more likely to wear clothes in other locations. And basically, like, the whole first episode premise of the show is that Twilight Sparkle, who's the main character, makes friends with 5 other ponies, and they, through the power of friendship, they unlock the power of lasers using some magical crystal MacGuffins called the Elements of Harmony, which are all associated with various virtues, and I wonder if that's a trope, actually. And Rarity is associated with the element of generosity. And also she has a little sister called Sweetie Belle, who's really popular in alternate universe fanfics for some reason.
Ah. Yeah, so my knowledge on My Little Pony is very low, so you'll have to forgive me for not getting any of the references or anything.
And also one of her most iconic lines is like a saying, of all the things that could happen, this was the most this is the worst possible thing. She also has like a mid-Atlantic accent, which is basically what people in the 1950s thought sounded like a posh, neutral English accent.
Mid-Atlantic. Trying to piece out which one that is. I'm a dumb old American, so I don't know my accent.
Basically, she sounds like what Americans think Londoners sound like.
Gotcha. Have you ever done a fake American accent the way that Americans do fake British accents?
Sometimes I do an accent that sounds a bit like this, normally to myself. I don't even know what this is. I think this sounds more like a bad Australian accent.
That was somewhere between Australian and, like, Southern American,
yeah.
I feel like.
And that also reminds me, in the Dog Island, I did the worst Yorkshire accent ever because I was trying too hard to do a really terrible Jodie Whittaker impression.
The Dog Island, that brings back memories for me. I would like to play that game again one day.
Yeah. It was one of the last Let's Plays I ever did because I realised that Let's Playing wasn't for me because, like, honestly, like, I'm not good at commentating on coming up with stuff on my own. And I just ended up umming and ahhing a lot, and it just ended up talking in circles and stuff like that, and oh my gosh, I'm not good at drawing Rarity's mane. This is my first time ever drawing Rarity, and also will be my first time ever drawing Marth.
Good luck with both of those. In regard to the Let's Plays thing, like, I feel that there's a reason I gave up doing solo Let's Plays back in, like, 2014. It's just coming up with commentary all on your own without someone to bounce ideas off of is just inherently very difficult because you're having a one-sided conversation.
And also the reason why I'm doing this earlier in the day than usual is because towards the end of my Sims 3 live stream the other week, I just got so tired towards the end, so I thought that if I was doing it at a time where the sun hadn't set yet, because in the UK the sun sets at 4 PM in December, I thought maybe I'd be able to talk better.
We have the sun setting here, like, about, like, maybe 4:30 these days. It is so depressing.
Yeah.
I hate the clock change. Just keep it on summertime forever.
I used to have to, like, when I was in sixth form, which is the last 2 years of high school, I had to take a bus to home, and, like, not only was it, like, from a service that was voted the worst in the country, so it was, like, almost always late, but it also, like, I had to wait outside in the freezing cold at, like, 4 PM in December.
Oof. Oof, oof, oof. I do not remember the last time I rode a school bus. It's been a long time.
Oh, and also it wasn't like a yellow school bus like they have in America. It was just a normal bus that happened to be taken by a lot of students.
Gotcha. I want to say it was like 11th grade, because I started driving to school at some point, like 11th grade.
Okay, also...
And so then, like,
I think...
like, my senior year, I wasn't, like, taking a bus anymore. I want to say it's been it.
Hey, I'm just going to completely redraw this tail because this is just looks bad.
I think it's fine. I think you should keep it.
Too late now.
Aw. I'm just of the mindset that like this you don't need to take this picture seriously. It's Marth holding a corn cob as a weapon, riding a pony. I think you should own it and
Yeah,
not look as
yeah,
dumb as you want it
I
to.
haven't explained the corn thing yet. In the comments of the video Tomodachi Life episode when Marth was introduced, there's a part where like they're playing the silhouette game and one of them was a corn cob, and then like he jokes that it would be Marth's sword in the next Smash Bros game because it gets smaller with each game, and so I said I'd draw that as well.
I'm unironically expecting it to be about the length of a corn cob in the next game, which is kind of depressing, but hey, you take what you get, you know?
Also, because it's December, I just like thinking of Frosty the Snowman, and it mentions a corn cob pipe, but I don't think I've ever seen a depiction of him that has one. Normally they just give him a normal pipe.
You know, now that you mention it, I don't think I've seen him with a corn cob in his mouth either.
And I don't even know what a corn cob pipe would look like, and I also don't know what figgy pudding is.
Well, a corn cob pipe, I'm assuming, is just they stuck a corn cob in his mouth to represent a pipe using their imaginations. As for figgy pudding, I don't think Americans know what that is either.
Is it pudding
and
with
yes, Laura,
figs in it?
Tomodachi Life sequel. We need one.
Yeah. Tomodachi World with 3,000 me's. That's Fisher's pipe dream.
Yes. And I would fill up all 3,000 slots in a YouTube series. And that'd be a lot of art for Katie to draw.
Oh yeah, Katie's a member of my server. She's her username is Katatui101, and she draws for Fabulous Fish a lot.
God, I'm just trying to think of like the logistics of trying to do an actual series with 3,000 Mii's in it. I feel like realistically speaking, I have to do multiple Mii's in an episode to make that work within a lifetime.
And then you can get a Guinness World Record for the longest Let's Play.
Let's see. There's assuming we do like one episode a week minimum and don't get behind again. For divided by the 3,000 divided by 50. Jesus Christ, that is a fucking long time. That'd be like 150 years. Is my math right for that? I woke up like an hour and a half ago and I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep here. Let me just do the math on that.
Also, I just noticed that this is slightly at an angle, so let me rotate it real quick.
60. Okay, that is 60 years. Yes, I'm very sleep deprived right now.
Although it might as well take you 150 years, considering all the time you'd have to record it, edit it, get motivated. Yeah. Like, there were massive gaps between each episode of my Red Rescue Team Let's Play because the game was just, honestly, going through dungeons was just so mind-numbingly boring.
I get that. That is why I don't personally have any interest in ever playing through an RPG on my channel. I just, like, don't see how I can realistically do commentary for it. And I agree with both those points, Laura. Same-sex marriage and more songs, I'll be a happy camper with that.
Wait, why am I...
Honestly, I want the ability to, like, set families in advance. Like, as you created me, set them to be, like, this character's brother or daughter or spouse or whatever.
I'm trying to think, like, I'm not actually good at picking good shades of colours, so what looks like a good shade of brown for Marth's boots?
I don't know yet, because I'm on the part, in the YouTube stream, on the part where just drawing the outline with, like, a bluish shade.
Here's the picture I'm referencing. This is literally the page image for Marth, non-game specific on the Smash Bros. Wiki. It's from the... I think it's from...
Emblem, I think.
Yeah, that's it. I was about to say Genealogy of the Holy War, but that's not right. Oh, and speaking of which, the only Fire Emblem games I've played are the demo of Awakening that I gave up after the opening cutscene because you couldn't customize the character, which meant you couldn't play as a female character, and like the prologue and like half of the first a bit of the first chapter of Shadow Dragon, and then I got bored. And Shadow Dragon is the one that Marth's in.
Yeah. Awakening is my favorite, personally. I know it's a very controversial thing to say in the Fire Emblem fandom, but I think that's the best one. Okay,
Fabulous Fish doesn't like Pokemon, and I can't really pick a favourite generation. I'd have to say that, like, generations 3 to 4 is, like, generation 3 and 4 is where I have nostalgia, and then generation 6 was when I was most active in the fandom. So, like, Pokemon X and Y hold a special place in my heart because they were, like, probably the first games I ever actually hyped up with other people.
I'm going to say Gen 4 because I think that's the only one I've played.
Yeah, that's what Soul Silver was in.
Yes. So that's the one I had the most experience with. Which one was Emerald in?
Gen 3.
Okay, I played that one too.
I didn't know that.
I think I have a copy of Emerald sitting around this room somewhere. I don't know where it'd be though.
Hey.
I know I sold my copy of Soul Silver for $5,
and now it's really expensive.
It goes for way more than that.
Like, honestly, I got Soul Silver when it, like, pre-ordered it. It was, like, first game I pre-ordered, I think. I got it on launch day, and then I was expecting the place I got it to be packed, and I was, like, the only people, me and my mum were the only people there. It was, like, we weren't camping out all night or anything, don't worry. I was, like, 8 at the time, so that would have been a bad idea. And then I just didn't like it, like... even though I thought Pokemon Diamond was really tedious and thought Soul Silver was better, I still persevered through Diamond, whereas I restarted Soul Silver multiple times before I actually beat it.
I got to the second continent in that game, like, after the Elite Four, and I got, like, I want to say, like, 4 or 6 of the dungeons in, and then I just stopped playing one day and never went back to it.
That's a bit longer than I expected you to have played it.
Well, I gave it a fair chance. I wanted to see what all the fuss was about, and I'm like, I don't get it. Not for me. But I'm also, like, not a fan of RPGs in general, so, like, it was probably going to end up like that no matter what. And Unicorn, you said you didn't get to see till 7 a.m. I feel that on a spiritual level. I was up till, like, 5:30 in the morning last night. It was a rough night for me.
And yeah, I sometimes have really... bad sleeping habits. Like, I slept fine today, but yesterday I woke up at went to sleep at 10 p.m, woke up at 3 a.m, and then, like, I couldn't go back to sleep until 6 a.m, and by the time I got woke back up again, I had less than half an hour to get ready for college. I only have college on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, by the way.
Do you live on campus, or...
No.
Actually, no, that's a stupid question. There's a quarantine going on. Never mind.
No, and there aren't really any places to live on this campus anyway, because it's not a really big, fancy university.
Gotcha.
I mean, I've been on trips to big, fancy universities, and I don't think I'd actually like living on one.
It had its pros and cons. It was really nice because I didn't spend 3 hours in transport a day when I lived on campus. But then it's also, like, it costs so much more money than commuting, taking the train, so... I did commuting for my last 2 years of college, and it kind of sucked at points. But also allowed me to work on videos, so that was a nice plus to it. I wasn't really able to do that when I lived on campus. Unicorn says her sleep schedule has not been right for ages now. Yeah, I've been trying so hard to get myself back on, like, a normal sleep schedule again. My body just doesn't like it. I just naturally want to stay up late and wake up late.
Oh gosh, I'm trying to draw Marth's head, but it just ends up looking too thin. It really is like Sims in The Sims 2.
I give a skinny head. Go for it.
This is the best I'm going to get.
Smart. They'll be hot no matter what you do. My leg is asleep. Ow.
Which hand should he be holding? Right, Marth's right-handed, so he should be holding the corn in his right hand. Not to be confused with Corrin, which is the protagonist of Fire Emblem Fates, I think.
Yes. Yes, Corrin was the second self-insert they did. Technically not the second, but most people call Corrin the second, because most people call Robin the first.
Okay, I'm terrible. That hand looks a bit bad, but then again, this isn't serious. It's just that he doesn't have a palm. Palms are overrated.
Man. Give him his like, sword handling gloves or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I was going to, but I just thought maybe it was a detail I didn't need to include on there. I don't really know.
What years do you guys miss? Like, 2004? Way back when life was easy?
Yeah, 2000... I've wanted to make a joke in a video for a while, but haven't had an opportunity to do so. That 2004 was a simpler time before YouTube, Reddit, and female Red Rangers. If you're wondering...
Sorry, you go.
Wait, I was just about to explain it, but what were you going to ask?
I was gonna say that if you say 2008, that still kind of sounds like the future to me, which I know is like insane because that was so long ago. But
Yeah. I don't really know what years I've missed because either I was too young to remember or like it was like not really that happy that year. Like I'll explain more in a video I'm going to make at the end of this year or the start of next one because it's going to get quite... I don't want to get too personal in a light-hearted stream. And I'm rubbing out something on the wrong layer. Also, there are some, like, specks on my screen and I keep thinking they're pixels and it's really annoying me. I think I drew Muff's arm too wide there. But I don't actually know...
keep it. Keep it. He's buff.
Actually, I should draw it. Give him a face first. His eyes are blue, right?
I think so. Matches his hair. Oh man, I something I was gonna say about like 2004 and 2008. I totally forget now. That's what sleep deprivation does to me.
Oh, and if you don't get the simpler time before Reddit, YouTube, and female Red Rangers things, all of those things happened in 2005. Or came out in 2005.
Gotcha.
For further watching, please see the video essay that drained me from making video essays for the rest of the year, The Tragic Tale of the Original Female Red Ranger, uploaded sometime in January this year.
I enjoyed that. That was January. Jesus Christ, that was like a year ago. This year has just like flown by. Like, oh my god, it's December.
Yeah, like I didn't really feel like it was December either until like suddenly on the 29th of November we got to put up our Christmas decorations. Probably because we put up our Christmas decorations a few days late last year.
We put up Christmas decorations I think like the day after Thanksgiving here.
Oh.
Which I know that's like an American holiday, but you have a rough idea what that is, I'm assuming?
Yes, because everyone knows about Black Friday. Sometimes on the news they have... Because sometimes, like, I remember once on the news they just had this video of a bunch of people in America at, like, a Target waiting in line for Black Friday. And there was, like, a guy who bought a bunch of amiibos.
Black Friday is honestly a bigger holiday for most people.
Mm-hmm.
Laura on Duty says, 2005, the release of Mario Kart DS and Nintendogs. Mario Kart DS brings me way back.
Oh, that reminds me. When I was this, I used, like, for years I thought that the DS came out in 2006, because, like, I got the DS Lite, which came out in 2006, and everyone I knew had a DS Lite. I've never known anyone who had an original DS, and while I did play Nintendogs and Mario Kart DS, either I didn't notice, or the fact that the first Nintendogs version I played was the Dalmatian version, which came after all the others.
My sister had the original Fat Model DS. I actually have it about 2 feet to my right now. She abused the hell out of the thing until the top screen eventually snapped. After like a decade of dropping it on the hard floor everywhere.
What is up with Marth? I don't like how I've drawn Marth. He looks like a monkey.
I think it's great. I think you should keep it. Own it.
I'm going to draw the stick of corn first and then actually draw him holding it, because it's just easier than drawing the holding thing first, because I don't draw humans very often. It's not like I can't draw them, I just don't really draw things often in general, and at the moment I mainly draw My Little Pony fan art.
Gotcha. Did you ever play the original Mario Kart DS game?
Yes.
Nice.
Almost everyone I knew did. Mm-hmm.
Although they have not made one that good since then.
Though it wasn't as big a part of my childhood as New Super Mario Bros. Was. Although, funny enough, the only games from my childhood I kept the same copy of of all the games from my childhood, the one I've kept the copy of the longest was Pokemon Diamond. Even though, as I said, I hated it when I was little, it taught me the value of patience.
That was Sly Cooper for me.
Yeah.
That taught me patience. That was a game that, like, if you rush in head first, you die, because you die in one hit in that game.
Like, I sold my first copy of New Super Mario Bros. And got a new copy later.
I love New Super Mario Bros. That game is great.
I used to think it was, like, the hardest game ever when I was little. I didn't really feel like...
I guess I could see that. It was challenging at points.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was good at video games until I played Skyward Sword. And it took me 3 months to beat it, and it just made me feel like so accomplished. You've got to remember that my only point of reference for a 3D action adventure game before then was the Dog Island, if that even counts as action adventure.
I think it does count, yeah. Not the best example, but I would classify it as such.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like Skyward Sword. That game makes me mad.
Tessellating Hexagon's like Skyward Sword as well, but he's not here right now. He did a live stream of it a few years ago, but he never finished it.
I would like to one day, whenever I get back to making fish bowls, I would like to cover Skyward Sword one day. Because I have the very controversial opinion that the motion controls were fine and it was everything else that was bad. Which I know is like, no one says that.
Oh, and also, I remember when Zelda, I used to think that the worst fandoms would get was Zelda fans acting like Skyward Sword and the DS games were the worst, most horrible games ever. Which is, like, I've legitimately, like, seen people call them, the DS games, abominations a few times.
I like the DS games. I think they're good.
I like them too. And also, speaking of DS games, I've recently started replaying my favourite DS game, Solitaire Robo, because I just remembered how much I love the soundtrack. It's this action RPG, although the RPG elements are quite minimal, and you wouldn't like it, Fabulous Fish, because it's about furries, specifically cat and dog people, who live on a bunch of floating islands, and it's a bit hard for me to explain the plot, because it is like the whole conflict is caused by people trying to use giant robots to destroy the world, but that would be kind of doing it a disservice, because it's really more about the characters.
Okay, so you say I wouldn't like that, but Sly Cooper's about furries, and that's in my top 10 games of all time.
Oh, yeah. So basically the whole, what I just like about it the most is that usually in video games with protagonists who talk, the protagonist is just kind of like a generic nice person, like in Klonoa. Not that I have anything against Klonoa. Daughter Phantom Isle is another one of my favourite games. But, like, Red, which is the name of the protagonist, has, a really, has, dynamics with multiple characters, and he has, he's quite snarky, and he's optimistic, and he has a catchphrase and everything, and it's really the whole plot. I think that the whole plot really is about another character learning to open up her feelings, and also what I like. Okay, that was a bit bad wording. Basically, one of the characters, or rather, to be open about her feelings, and what I like about it is that there's so much world building in it. You get a sense of what life is like for a normal person in this world, and even all the incidental characters who are only appearing one side quest of their own stories to tell. And that
you have to either make a video on that sometime, or someone show me gameplay of that, because I'm intrigued by it just from its premise. But...
Oh, and also the whole gameplay is that basically you control a mini mech that grabs and throws stuff, and it's fine. It's not stellar, but it gets the job done. It's not like The Legend of Spyro, which I've said multiple times. The gameplay just is so mindless that I wonder why they didn't make it a movie, because all the pieces for an animated movie are there. You've got famous actors, you've got the annoying sidekick who just spouts references constantly. The Legend of Spyro is basically what everyone doesn't like about Skyward Sword amplified.
Oof.
And it's even more,
so
and it's ridiculous.
Fan.
So
you'll probably appreciate this. I just got the Spyro collection for Black Friday.
Oh, Reignited Trilogy. I'm sort of into Spyro. I was never massively into it. It was before my time, and I have a bad experience of accidentally starting out with the Spyro game that was widely considered to be one of the worst games of all time. And that made me too embarrassed to think about Spyro for a few years, but I got over that. And watched...
The only bit of Spyro I've ever seen before, I know he's a dragon. I think I saw 3 seconds of a top-down one on GBA, and I saw 5 minutes of one on PS2 where you could slow down time.
Yeah,
and that is.
You mentioned that in a video.
I know about it.
You mentioned that in a video before. That's the one you can slow down time. Is the Legend of Spyro, the Eternal Night. And funny story, I used to think that the Eternal Night came before Dawn of the Dragon. The Eternal Night came after Dawn of the Dragon, because I read that the fact that the planet has 2 moons was an important plot point in the third game, and I was oh yeah, moons equals night. So obviously Eternal Night must be the third game, which is not. And also the first Spyro game I played was Season of Flame on someone else's copy of Season of Flame, but I didn't play it for very long, and I got stuck on the glide tutorial, which is one of the GBA games, if you don't know.
Gotcha. I'll have to get around to playing them one day. Hopefully it doesn't just become another game I just have that sits around and never gets played.
Yeah, like that reminds me. I got some Wii U games for Christmas a few years ago, and I only played them like once each, and then I sold them because I just realised I could just never get into them. Same, they were Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and Mario Kart 8, and I got the Switch version of the latter not long later. And that's also happened to me with Spirit Tracks, where I just actually like most Zelda. I got Four Swords 25th Anniversary Edition, but then was too apprehensive to play it for about 3 months years ago. Oof. And also I got Twilight Wings Resort and Kid Icarus Uprising a few years ago and then barely played them. And also a bunch of Wii games that were really cheap that I barely played. Like, there was Endless Ocean and there was this other game about water droplets from the developer of Elodies, which I still haven't finished because I just kind of got frustrated at it, honestly. The sensor bar I have isn't very, very good. It just seems... It just... Everything looks really jittery.
Mm.
And if you don't know... Elodies is basically a first-person shooter with lots of weird physics. But instead of killing people, you collect these electric spark things in order to power appliances, so you can upgrade the gun thing that you have, so you can collect more electric spark things called Elodies, or Elobits in America.
You should give Kid Icarus Uprising another chance. You still have it?
No.
I think that game is phenomenal.
Oh, Lucky 7 Deluxe and Sugar Conway have both done Let's Plays of it, but I just couldn't get into either of them. Like, I just find it hard to get into Let's Plays nowadays.
I feel that too. I don't watch... The only Let's Play things I watch are when Runaway guys do Mario Party. Mm-hmm. I'll watch that.
I've never actually played Mario Party, and it just seems like one of those games that everyone's played.
Yeah, that's one you usually play, like, at a friend's house before you get, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, you always have, like, the one friend who's going, like, yo, let's play Mario Party, and then you're like, this is a bad idea.
And speaking of which, like, I finally started... I got Crash Bandicoot 4 for my birthday, but I only just started playing it today. And it kind of gives me, like, vibes of the kind of game you'd play at a friend's house, but better. Because I remember I played the Over the Hedge game on PS2 at a friend's house, and I had no idea what to do. And there was also... My grandparents had a Wii that they got just so me and my brother could play it, and there was this, Spider-Man game we used to play together a lot. That wasn't, and I don't remember what it was called. It wasn't Shattered Dimensions.
I grew up with the Over the Hedge game, and that game was horrible.
Like,
I hated it
I
so much.
specifically remember we played this part where you had to run away from a dog, and we just kept dying.
God, I just remember that game just keeps going on and on and on. You keep thinking it's going to be over, and then there's more.
Now, should I colour this in...
It's a sequel to the movie, which is really weird.
Mm-hmm. Now, should I... Actually, no, I haven't given Martha's cope yet. How could I forget? But after I finish these outlines, should I...
Red on the inside, blue on the outside.
Yeah, I'm just going to make it red in order to simplify the whole thing. But now...
Is this picture here going to count as a submission for the art contest for Tomodachi Life?
Sure, why not? I was actually thinking about that earlier. I also wanted to draw...
Beautiful.
Dakota holding up the child version of Sarah's like, what? And he's like, what happened to you? But I never got around to it.
One day. Oh, that's right. Sarah shrank and became a
child.
Kid. I totally forgot about that.
Okay. So, do you think I should colour this?
That is such a weird mechanic.
Do you think I should colour this in?
Yeah. I give Marth some of the detail on his like tunic, because right now it looks like he's in a jumpsuit. Or
a onesie. Why is it called a jumpsuit? Do people jump in them?
I have no idea.
What? I'm trying to think about how to make this look
beautiful.
Good. I'll use a lighter shade of blue.
I liked when Laura on duty said it was Donkey Kong cosplaying as Marth, because he said it looks like a monkey. Though Donkey Kong is an ape, not a monkey.
Diddy Kong is a monkey, though.
Yes, Diddy is a monkey. He's got a tail.
Okay, this detail in the tunic looks kind of bad. Let me try it again.
There's the belt. There's like the chest plate.
Oh yeah, try drawing the belt
You
first.
should just write Fire Emblem on his chest plate.
Also, speaking of which, what does the title actually refer to? Because I've heard that Fire Emblem refers to something different in each game.
So the Fire Emblem is like a set of crystals that they put into a shield in most games, although some games they're put into a sword instead.
Just realised that I forgot to draw Rarity's horn.
Oh, is she a unicorn?
Yes.
Gotcha.
And there's a unicorn in the fairy tale room in Tomodachi Life. And it's also white.
That is true. That is true. I was surprised people were able to figure out as Marth based on it being like the fairy tale room.
It's got a castle in it. Martha's a prince.
Yeah, there's the castle was the biggest giveaway. We gotta give him the princess dress just so he can get the tiara. Oh, you forgot his tiara.
Oh, I'll draw that in a minute. Once I finished erasing these.
It's like Marth's most defining feature. His girly little crown. Donkey Kong can cosplay as like that was actually a mod for Brawl that was called like Ike Kong, and it was Donkey Kong with like Ike's outfit on. Kind of beautiful. Oh god, modding Brawl was the best. I had a Bill Clinton skin for Donkey Kong. So many good ones.
Now I can't hear the name Bill Clinton without thinking of gaming in the Clinton years, which was this really weird video TV show that reviewed video games that Kadikarus reviewed earlier this year.
If you don't get this game, you are stupid. I adore that whole series, gaming in the Clinton years. My favorite part's obviously the Toy Story review. That is beautiful.
Is it bad that I don't think that the 16-bit version of Toy Story looks that bad, honestly?
I mean, it's hard to tell with YouTube compression. That's the only place I've ever seen it.
Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong layer. That's why it didn't show up.
I discovered that series through Retsupre. Are you familiar with the channel?
Doesn't he make fun of Let's Plays or something?
Yeah, well, they're the two guys who actually created Let's Play. They're like the first two Let's Players ever.
Okay.
And yes, they're known for kind of making fun of Let's Plays, but they also did a series about gaming on the Clinton years, and oh, that's like one of the funniest. That is something I can go back to and like rewatch all the time. It's so great.
I used to get paranoid that people would make fun of things that I made in like situations like that, and then I never saw anyone who did. I mean, there are some authors on FimFiction who regularly check what people on 4chan are saying about their fanfics, but I'm not one of them. Because I have never been on 4chan, and I don't plan to change that. I think I might have been
There's
on...
something to be said for being able to like look at your own stuff critically, though.
Mm.
Like, most of the early stuff any YouTuber makes is gonna be terrible. That's just kind of how it is. If like Retsupre, I found one of my old projects and started making fun of it, it's like I'd laugh. That'd be funny. So I don't know. I don't think I'd be worried.
And that also, I just remembered the other day, I didn't watch this, but like, there's a Pokemon fanfic author I really like, and someone forced him to talk about, to read Sonichu in a live stream. And then at the end he was all like, pretending to hope that it would get better.
Katie and I like tossed around the idea of reading fan fictions for YouTube, because we used to do that back in college together. One of my favorite ones, she read this fan fiction about Frodo Baggins' parents from Lord of the Rings, and oh my god, it was kind of beautiful. I loved how they kept calling Sam's dad the Gaffer. They never referred to him as anything other than the Gaffer, and that was so great.
And that also reminds me, years ago, when I was at school once, during, like, lunchtime, someone went on Wattpad and read this fanfic shipping Donald Trump with Adolf Hitler. And there was this part where Adolf Hitler had just given birth, and then he went down to Bikini Bottom to catch some fish to eat, and SpongeBob and Patrick flipped him off.
I think my favorite thing about Hitler is knowing that if he knew he'd be a meme one day, he'd hate it.
Okay, then.
I think that's my favorite thing about it, just knowing how much I piss him off.
I don't want to talk too much about politics on this channel, though.
Talking about Hitler's not talking about politics. That's like talking about a supervillain at this point.
Yeah, but, like, I know that, but, like, I'm on a Discord server with a lot of people who get very heated about neo-Nazis, let's just say that.
Gotcha.
So I just don't want this to suddenly start turning into a really serious debate even though even though I did bring it up first in a jokey context.
Well, I mean, don't worry. I wouldn't be necessarily debating that.
Does Marth look better now?
Yes, he does. He needs his chest plate so he can write Fire Emblem on it.
Oh yeah.
He's got to make sure everyone knows where he's from.
Oh, wait, I put on the wrong one. He's not from Smash Bros.
Yeah. Even though pretty much everyone thinks he came from there at first.
I remember, like when Fire Emblem Awakening came out, and suddenly Fire Emblem became really mainstream.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy to see, because like I was one of the few people who played it before that.
Oh, and also here's a funny story. I had no idea that Xenoblade Chronicles was published by Nintendo until Shulk was in Smash Bros. I just thought it was just some RPG that would get a cult fan base, but most people would forget about it. Because like I first learned about it from Mission Nintendo magazine, and they were just like making fun of the fact it wasn't ever released. It wasn't going to be released in America, and then it was. Because Official Nintendo magazine was British, and now it's gone, and I cried really hard.
I don't think people are ever going to forget about that game. That is one of the best games ever made. That is a game I think everyone should play.
Oh, speaking of which, I want to say that Solitarobo is kind of thematically similar to Xenoblade, but I don't know much about Xenoblade. The main reason I think that is because in the second half of Solitarobo there's a lot of weird psychological stuff, but I can't really explain any more without spoiling it.
Gotcha.
And now this beautiful work of art is complete.
I actually own like the entire Xeno series. I have all the earlier ones prior to Xenoblade 2. I've not played a single one of the earlier ones though. It's one of the many games I will play hopefully one day. So my stack of games continues to grow and I don't play them.
Hi. So I think it's time to save this now. What funny title should I give it?
Marth.png.
I just suddenly remembered that one of this video of a badly painted Marth figure on what's it called again? A Marth amiibo with someone playing the recorded version of the Fire Emblem theme over it.
That's beautiful.
Now what should I? Pardon?
I saw a Shulk version of that too.
Now what?
They played our names on recorder.
I didn't know you liked My Little Pony, Laura. Anyway, what should I draw next? Just to set your expectations, this isn't a way to get free commissions. I just want to draw ridiculous stuff. Oh, I thought you said that. Oh, sorry. I thought you said that you didn't want me to colour it. It was fine as it was.
Oh no, I just meant like don't reshape anything. No, I think you should colour it.
Okay, so I should reopen my Rarity reference image because I like using official colours for My Little Pony, my Little Pony art. It's just what I do. And something that's cool about Fire Alpaca is that when you you can use the paint bucket on a different layer, and the shape, only the shape above it will be filled in. And I just noticed some more specks there. But anyway, and the shape.
I need to replace my laptop because the screen is covered in dead pixel specks after it took a hard fall a few weeks back.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. My I used to have a laptop that had a bunch of dead pixels on the left side of the screen, and I don't know why. And then one day it suddenly stopped being able to recognise headphones, so that was annoying. And then I eventually broke it because I got so frustrated with it.
Oof.
But thankfully, more specifically, I broke the screen so I could still plug it into my computer or rather plug it into my monitor and use that as a screen. But I never actually. And then eventually I got a new one. I was about to say I never actually finished it, and then I realised it doesn't actually make any sense in this context. What am I even talking about?
God, I hope there's a day one day where I'll never need to use a laptop again. I hate them so much.
And I'm using a home computer now because I got one a home computer so I could actually run Adobe Premiere Pro properly on it. Because the tragic tale of the original female Red Ranger almost killed my laptop.
Yeah. Trying to do any video work at all on a laptop is just torture. I would not recommend. I would not wish that on my worst enemies. It's just a miserable experience all around, always through. I did not know Friendship is Magic was over.
Yeah, it ended last year, and people on Reddit still won't shut up about it. People keep saying, "Oh, isn't it so sad that the show ended?" Everyone knows this. And, people are acting like a show has never ended before.
See, that's like my issue with it. The biggest reason I don't have any interest in My Little Pony is just the way the fandom tends to treat it. That's just like made me like not have any interest in it as a whole.
I used to not want to watch Friendship is Magic because I just thought the fandom was annoying because I thought they'd forgotten about the original My Little Pony, which turned out to be G3. Which
Not
also
even the original.
Yeah, because G3 was from my childhood, so that was the only My Little Pony to me when I was little. And anyway, but then eventually I got over it and got into it because I started watching The Mysterious Mr. Enter a lot, and eventually I got to watching his My Little Pony reviews. And funny story, I found him because I used to like watching a lot of top 10 lists of disturbing stuff, and then I found his top 10 most disturbing cartoon episodes.
The only thing I remember about that was the Invader Zim episode that was #1. I'm
Oh, yeah.
I was kind of expecting that.
Yeah, he said you all saw this coming, but I didn't really like that because I'd never heard of that because I didn't read back then. I didn't know anything about Invader Zim other than Gur was in it.
I loved that show when I was younger.
It was probably before my time. When did Invaders?
2001.
Yeah, that was the year I was born.
Okay, I was about to ask, were you even alive then? God damn, I am old. I am very old.
I just realised I haven't covered in Marth's hair. Also, some of these,
This is beautiful.
some parts of this, the outline is kind of coloured the same. There's parts of outline overlapping, so I'm going to have to go back and fill those in manually.
Yeah. If you are going to do another drawing, you should do the one with Dakota holding up Sarah.
Although
you can enter as many pictures as you want in the art contest. It doesn't just have to be one.
Oh, I just realised I haven't coloured in Muff's boot. Good thing I noticed that. And yes, he is riding Rarity bareback because he's Muff and he can do what he wants.
Yeah, he doesn't back down from your challenges like that.
Are they? Oh, but I haven't finished colouring in the corn yet. Also, are there unicorns in Fire Emblem? Because I know there were Pegasi.
There probably are unicorns. I'm not too familiar with that actually. I don't think I'd be able to answer that question.
You'll ask your sister then, because
Yeah.
if you don't know, Fabulous Fish's sister, Erika, is always talking about Fire Emblem in his Discord server. And now it's done.
Maya, I'm still waiting for you to colour in the corn.
Oh yeah, I've coloured it in now. I'm saving it.
Yeah, I'm a little,
okay.
Just a teensy bit behind.
Okay. Right, when were the pilots of Has Been Hotel and the Hell of a Boss released? Because I haven't seen that because they just don't look like the kind of thing I'd be interested in, honestly. And I haven't really been paying attention to the chat because I've been drawing. Laura said at the same time the pilots of Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss was released.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know either of those, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, and also I wanted to draw a bit of an Iris looking unamused in the corner, because if you don't know, Iris is another one of me's in that Tomodachi Life Let's Play. And there was a part in, one of the streams where they did Judgment Bay, and they got asked for suggestions for what the Mii's could vote on, and I suggested My Little Pony and Transformers, and even though Iris is, the biggest tomboy ever, she went to My Little Pony. So I kind of want to reconcile that by, imagining that she only likes dark My Little Pony fanfics. There's Fallout Equestria, which is, 500,000 word epic and probably the most popular fanfic in the fandom, and it's exactly what it sounds like. And, I've only read the prologue of it. It's rated M, by the way, so I can't link to it here, even if you could post links in chats. It's not YouTube friendly. And there's also Cupcakes, which is where Pinkie Pie horribly murders Rainbow Dash, and it's more famous for being shocking than its actual quality. Once again, I've never read it. I've only read the TV Directs page for it, and that was enough. And
I have no idea if My Little Pony would even still exist by the time Iris is canon born.
Yeah, that's actually something I think about sometimes. All these works of fiction that you think will exist forever might stop existing one day. Because, sometimes I just kind of get, a start thinking that all these YouTubers I watch have been doing YouTube for years, but eventually they'll have to stop because that's just how time works.
Yeah, there's that, and it's like, what will be remembered like 100 years from now?
Because, like, there's probably loads of books from, like, 100 years ago that nobody remembers that were probably really popular at the time. Like, the only book from over 100 years ago that comes to mind right now is The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
I mean, there are other ones I know that are, like, still relevant today.
Yeah. Oh, also, I tried reading The Wonderful Wizard of Oz a few years ago and I got bored.
I've made this claim before, but language ages very poorly, so as a result, I think books age very poorly because they are nothing but language.
Yeah, like I used to read a lot of Enid Blyton books when I was little, and I always thought it was odd that everyone said hello instead of hello.
It's just something that, like, it is just an unfortunate side effect of not having any kind of visual means to carry the story, because, like, visuals age more or less the same, and, like, a face will always kind of look like a face. But, like, manners of speaking evolve so quickly that even books from, like, 40 years ago can sometimes be difficult to get through today.
Although, Eva by Peter Dickinson, which is a book which I don't really like per se as much as I find it interesting, if that makes any sense, is, like, from the 1980s, and it still holds up pretty well, besides the whole hilariously inaccurate... Actually, I said say hilariously inaccurate predictions of the future, and then I realised it doesn't actually specify what year it takes place in. Basically, it's in a future where the Earth is overpopulated, and people have become really obsessed with preserving chimpanzees, and there's this girl who was in a coma who had her mind copied into a chimpanzee.
Oh. That was not where I was expecting that to go.
And also, they have hologram televisions, but it's not explained very well. Although, honestly, like... One thing I find a bit unrealistic about all these, like, dystopian settings is that why wouldn't people want to save their pets? Like, it's because it's not just Eva, there's, something else that comes, like, there's another work of fiction that takes place in a dystopian future that also doesn't seem to have any mention of people keeping pets around, and I can't remember what it is right now. But there's also this book called Dog Star. It's a bit cheesy, but it's basically like where the only animals remaining on Earth are humans and their pets, and they have to relocate to a new planet because the atmosphere is so polluted. And it got adapted into a cartoon.
Oof.
Hey?
You should post your Marth somewhere when the stream is done.
Okay, I should really get on to drawing something. I could draw Dakota and Sarah, but does anyone else have any other ideas? I have never heard of something sweet to bite. Am I better not knowing? But also, something sweet to bite is basically a chant that people say. It's in the equivalent of Halloween, fabulous fish in My Little Pony.
Gotcha. Yeah, apologies again, but any and all My Little Pony references will probably be lost on me.
Oh yeah, you used to talk about Jeff the Killer a lot and Jane the Killer, didn't you, Laura? I haven't seen you in person in a while. Like, it must have been months. I'm trying to picture what... Should I draw Dakota? Dakota or Sarah first? I actually think I'll go Dakota. Also, what? I didn't think Dakota's a bit of a weird name because it's a US state. It's like... People named after places just sounds weird, like London Tipton or Paris Hilton, and I just realised that London Tipton is a play on Paris Hilton. There's a
She very intentionally has like a standout name because it kind of fits her character.
Yeah. I just remember...
And she was very intentionally given like a mouthful of a full name.
The only episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody I can remember is the one where, like, London Tipton gets kicked out, leaves her own birthday party to go to the blonde girl's party, and she can't go back in because they think that she's an impersonator.
I have never seen an episode of Sweet Life and Zack and Cody.
Okay, it was a Disney Channel sitcom, and that's pretty much all you need to know about it.
But,
Disney Channel sitcoms just blend together in my mind, and I didn't watch them as much as I watched Nickelodeon sitcoms. At least Nickelodeon sitcoms had gimmicks, but then so did most Disney Channel sitcoms.
I think Nickelodeon's held up a little better.
Pardon?
I said I think Nickelodeon's usually held up a little better than the Disney sitcoms.
I'm trying to get Dakota's skin colour right, and I can't find one that matches. Or does this look fine?
She's pretty tan.
Yeah, because I don't want it to look too, like, this kind of shade, because it just looks a bit unfitting.
I'll have to see whenever the stream catches
Okay.
up.
When I read that, when I read Candymare, I immediately remembered this episode of Doctor Who, where from the 1980s, which is about where like it's about these terrorists from the future who paint everything pink, and it's supposed to be a metaphor for feminism or something. But there's a robot called the Candyman that looks like the Licorice Bertie Bassett, which is the mascot of Licorice All Sorts, that tortures people using sweets.
Oh, rip.
Once again, I haven't watched much classic Doctor Who, so please don't ask me about it. I've watched, like, The Carnival of Monsters, Pyramids of Mars, and the first episode of An Unearthly Child, and honestly, I got really bored of the Pyramids of Mars.
I think I've seen, like, 3 episodes of Doctor Who in my life.
And what were they? Do you remember?
No. One of them had, like, I think a giant eyeball that was talking, and he typed in
The
a
11th
computer
Hour.
like that. Okay, yeah.
I think that was the first episode of Doctor Who I saw in full as well. Because, like, I didn't realise that, because Doctor Who episodes, modern Doctor Who episodes are like 45 minutes long, so I probably wouldn't have had the patience to sit for an entire one when I was little. I just wasn't really into Doctor Who until a few years ago. It was mainly my brother who was into it, and I just watched it whenever I was in the same room as him, pretty much. But I remember once I got my brother a Doctor Who book for his birthday, and then I read it more than he did.
My one of my good friends was really into it, so that was like my introduction to it. I enjoyed for what I saw, but not enough to go out of my way to watch anymore.
Hey, also, what does Dakota's hair look like? It's long, but this doesn't look.
It's got a like kind of a floop in the front, like Ariel from Little Mermaid.
Oh, you mean like a fringe or a bangs, as you Americans call them?
Yeah. Well, I call them a floop or a swoop, but that's because I make up my own words and terminology for things.
And doesn't she have wavy hair as well?
Yeah.
I used to think that Dakota looks really similar to Brie.
Their Miis do look very similar.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they're actual. I mean, neither one of them had a particularly great character reference in this Tom and Ash Life series, unfortunately. They're both ones they're probably going to be redrawn one day. Katie's wants to like redo pretty much all of season 1's character references.
Okay. Also, I don't like how wide I drew this head. Oh, and also, apparently there are rumours that they're going to remake Solitaire Robo, they being CyberConnect's 2, who also made Hack, which I barely know anything about. But I'm also concerned that it will just, like, fall into a trap of remakes of just sticking too close to the original for the sake of it. Like, in Solitaire Robo, the environments were split up into quite small screens, and most of the cutscenes were done through dialogue, but character portraits in a horizontal bar, which is understandable, because it's a DS game, and even though it doesn't pass the Phantom Hourglass threshold, I'm letting them off for that, because it was made. CyberConnect 2 is quite a small company, and Phantom Hourglass threshold isn't for DS games, and you seem to have gone quiet, Fabulous Fish.
I was just letting you speak.
Okay. And I'm just worried that, like, if they remake it on, like, a high-definition console with loads of graphics, they won't take advantage of that, and they'll just have to do the characters standing in front of a blurred-out background style of cutscenes, which I hate, because it just looks so lazy. Ever Oasis does it. Both of the Digimon games on Vita that were ported to PS4 do it. Right, was Digimon World Next Order on Vita? No, wait, I'm thinking of... Yeah, it was originally. I was thinking of another game that was on PSP. And same thing with the environments. Like, it just seems like remakes should be about improving a game, but they just don't want to because that would ruin people's nostalgia or something.
I have, the longer I've lived and the more remakes I've seen, the more I've just kind of grown a distaste for game remakes.
Yeah, like...
I tend to find, like, most of them just, like, feel straight up inferior to the original versions.
Oh yeah, like, actually, I just remembered, apparently the Final Fantasy VII remake is really different from the original. I wouldn't know because I've never played it, but also apparently people didn't like it.
Okay, so here's what I'd say about that. I think, regardless of whether or not people like it, that is, in my mind, a better remake, because it's not just, like, a slightly better version or slightly different version of the original game. It's, like, a whole new game from the ground up with, like, completely different mechanics. They completely redid the story. Something I always thought was so weird is that, like, when you remake a movie, it's not like you keep every shot the same unless you're doing, like, a Disney live-action Lion King or something. You know, like, you usually in a movie remake, it's a different movie just with a similar idea. Game remakes don't do that, though. Most game remakes are like, here's the original game with slightly better visuals or something. So, just on that merit alone, I like the Final Fantasy VII Remake, despite never having played it or the original. I just like the fact that they tried to do something different.
I mean, you say
And
that, but there are such things as shot-for-shot remakes of movies, although usually they're fan-made. Like, someone made a stop-motion remake of Toy Story.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, those obviously exist, but I just meant that, like, in general, you don't see those from, like, big budget studios usually.
Mm-hmm.
But even when they do remakes that stick close to the source material, I just find that, like, not all the time, but more often than not, I like find myself preferring the originals.
Chat seems to have gone quiet.
The best.
You think
It
the best?
happens.
You think the best's what?
I think the best remake I've seen ever has been Ocarina of Time 3D.
Oh yeah, I played it and it didn't.
Like, improves on the original like every single way.
I could just not get into Ocarina of Time 3D, and it might have just been because I predisposed myself to think it was an overrated game, or it might have been because I really hate the fact that there's only 2 save respawn points in the overworld, and also the fire temple. I fell off things so many times, and I hate the music in it. And then I rage quit at the Spirit Temple because I didn't realise you could hookshot up the moving platform, the moving walls. Anyway, continue.
Okay, so I agree with you on the 2 like spawn points in the overworld. I'm not a huge fan of that either. I think it's not a big deal because the world's small enough you can get literally anywhere within about 30 seconds. I'm totally with you on Fire Temple. Fuck the Fire Temple. People always talk like the Water Temple's the worst thing in the game. It's like, no, Water Temple's a great dungeon. Fuck the Fire Temple. I hate that one. That one's horrible.
Like,
GP said she wished she was good as talking as the two of you. I appreciate that. I feel like I'm falling asleep here because I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep.
Here's a bit of a funny story though, because like my favourite part of Ocarina of Time was the ice cavern just before the water temple, and similarly, I hated Twilight Princess until I got to Snow Peak, which might have been because I started playing it on a bigger television, that was in a better lit room, so I could actually see what I was doing. But
okay, for real, that is a big problem with Twilight Princess. Like, I can't see the game because it's so dark and blurry.
Okay, but also, yeah, I've never actually played the remake, and all they really did was change the textures in it. They didn't remodel anything, which I guess is fine because the models were quite high poly anyway. Like, have you seen the low poly video about Link? Because there was a I keep saying a lot, and I'm a lot now. He points out that there's like over 10,000. Like he says that the Twilight Princess model has like a 5-digit number of polys in it.
Oh jeez, I like the art style of Twilight Princess a lot, but that's like the only thing in the game. I do not like Twilight Princess very much.
What colour are Dakota's eyes, by the way?
They're like sky blue.
Okay.
God, yeah. Okay, Twilight Princess was a game it took me forever to get through, just because like the first third of that game drags on for so long.
Yeah. I remember getting really lost in the Lakebed Temple. And this was before I played Ocarina of Time, by the way.
I think that was like the first dungeon in the game that I thought was anything other than boring. I'm like, at least, I'm lost, so there's something going on, which is more than the first two.
I thought the anti-gravity stuff in the Goron Mines was kind of cool, but I don't remember much else about it.
I think it was kind of cool. I think I would appreciate it a lot more if I hadn't played Mario Galaxy already.
Now, I've never played Super Mario Galaxy because I was more of a handheld person. So, like, the only Wii games I really played were multiplayer ones as a kid. And, like, I have literally only played New Super Mario Bros. Once in my entire life, and that was, like, at a friend's house that we didn't see very often, and I haven't seen him in years now. Mm-mm. Also, what do you think Dakota wears most of the time? Because I can't actually remember. I remember I gave...
Striped V-neck.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that.
Striped V-neck with a cardigan.
Oh, yeah.
And she wears shorts that are, like, awkwardly just past her knees. They're not quite long enough to be capris, but not really short enough to be shorts.
What are capris? Not Capri-Suns, I assume.
Capris, that might be an American term. That's for, like...
Short shorts.
Pants that kind of end on, like, your shins.
Short shorts.
No, capris are kind of long.
Oh.
They go, like, your shin about. Lara on Duty, Mario 64. That is one of the best games. That is, like, my top... I'm not sure if I go top 3. It was definitely top 5 games for me.
Oh, but I've played Super Mario 64 a few more times. Once again, it was someone else's copy at the club that Laura and I go to, and every time I played it, it was only the secret slide. And I also remember they had Lilac Wars, aka Star Fox 64 once, because I tried playing it, I wasn't very good at it, but I had the most fun just moving around the logo on the title screen.
The best part of Mario 64 is just manipulating his face on the title screen.
Yeah. And apparently
what really sucks about that game is it's so hard to play, and by that I don't mean anything about the game, I just mean it's like no version of it is easy to play. The original N64 version is like you need a CRT, you need a good N64 analog stick, and those are very hard to find. And that's like not the game's fault, that's just like the way circumstances are. Then there's the Wii Virtual Console version, which you can't get anymore, so if you don't have it, tough luck. And there's the Wii U Virtual Console version, which is unplayable due to crazy-ass input lag on it.
Oh yeah, like I think the reason why I might have had a lot of trouble with Kirby's Dream Land 3, especially in my Let's Play, was because of the input lag.
Yeah, the Wii U Virtual Console was really bad.
Because I remember
very unfortunate.
Reading in the magazine that Kirby's Dream Land 3 had a lot of slowdown, which I just thought was blatantly untrue. It was Retro Gamer, and they were doing a retrospective of Kirby by just doing short summaries of each game. And basically, the Kirby's Dream Land 3 had a filter on it that made it look more HD than it actually was, because obviously this was in the 90s, HD didn't exist.
Yeah.
But also, I think Kirby's Dream Land 3 is my least favourite of all the Let's Plays I've done, besides Wind Waker HD, which I don't count because I cancelled it because I was biting off more than I could chew. Like, I thought it was a good idea to just Let's Play a long game that I'd never 100% completed before on a whim, and I'd also only ever played it once in general before. Because I just felt like seeing if there really were ammonite fossils in the Forbidden Forest, because I'd read that there were on the Zelda universe years before. But I didn't like Kirby's Dream Land 3 because it just made me hate 100% completing the game.
I don't think I'm ever going to do a Let's Play of a Zelda game. I don't think they lend themselves super well to doing Let's Plays, just due to first off, I like to 100% games, and 100%ing Zelda can be kind of brutal sometimes.
Like, the first Let's Play I ever watched was actually Lucky70X's Let's Play of Spirit Tracks. Well, it wasn't the first I watched, but it was the first one I actually watched and knew was a Let's Play. The first one I watched was some episode of a Pokemon Sapphire Let's Play that my brother randomly found on YouTube, where someone was in Flannery's gym and commented on how weird Macago looks. Macago is a snail made of lava, by the way.
Gotcha. I want to respond to Unicorn's comment there. I've been meaning to respond to it, I kept forgetting. Yes, I was constantly turning up the brightness in Twilight Princess and then turning it down because some parts you needed to look a little darker or look natural. And don't worry if you never got very far in it, you are not missing much. That is one of the weakest Zeldas, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, I don't remember feeling very attached to the story in any Zelda game apart from Link Between Worlds. That's probably because I went into all of them spoiled, which was my own fault and something I still regret to this day, especially with Spirit Tracks. Because I've burned
spoilers.
Because I've burned Spirit Tracks into my memory and now I can never forget the plot. But I forgot a lot of details about Solitaire, even though, as I said, it was my favourite game, and back in 2014. It came out in 2011, by the way. And also, it is really rare nowadays and is one of the few region-locked DS games because it has DSi features.
Interesting. I kind of agree with you that I don't get too attached to most Zelda stories. Don't get me wrong, there's a few that I think are really good stories, like Wind Waker and Link's Awakening. But I feel like the bulk of the stories in Zelda games kind of come off as a little forgettable.
I remember saying that I think once on a forum that I liked the plots of Link's Awakening and the Wind Waker the most because they had some moral ambiguity in them, and so does Link Between Worlds, which is probably my favourite Zelda game, but I haven't played a Zelda game in ages, so I did play it a while ago. I just go in and out of moods of playing video. I just sometimes in a mood. I go in and out of phases where I want to play video games nowadays.
I'm of the, I mentioned this before, but I'm of the ilk that just doesn't play games, only ever talks about them. I took, almost 2 years to play through Fire Emblem Shadows of Valencia from, that was, mid-2018 to, mid-2020. And that was, the only game I played in that time other than Smash Ultimate.
There was a time in my life, where the only game I could bring myself to play was Kirby Triple Deluxe, followed by the only game I could bring myself to play was Monster Hunter Stories, which were both games I got for my birthday the preceding year. Also, how long is Sarah's hair? Because it's longer than this, right?
Yeah, her hair's not that long, though. And given that she's a child or a baby, hair could be different. Her hair, I think, is like just past her shoulders, like the top of her shoulders. I had something I was gonna say before, I totally forgot now. See, this is why I don't like being sleep deprived.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the right now I am playing Gravity Rush on PS4. I started that back in like May, and like I'm still not done yet because like I don't play video games ever.
And like nowadays, like mainly I for a lot of this year, the only game I've played was The Sims 3.
Yeah.
Because it is a like I don't like as I said I just can't get into The Sims 4. But like even though The Sims 3 is like probably objectively a bad game in some aspects, like the fact it can't even run properly on my fancy computer, which I'm guessing is because it's optimized to run on older computers, or the game is just badly optimized in general.
Yeah.
Like especially
I think I've heard the Sims are not well optimized. So.
Yeah. But it still like feels like they actually had an idea for like they had like ambition, that I can respect them for that. Like not like unlike The Sims 4, which just kind of feels a bit soulless. It doesn't even have the humorous loading messages. This isn't a real Maxis game, although apparently Maxis is no more because of the combination of The Sims 3 and Sims 4 and SimCity 2013. Like apparently the rights for The Sims were fully absorbed into EA or something. But please don't quote me on this.
That's not a good sign.
I read this on TV Tropes and ages ago, and I don't remember the specifics.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah,
Is TV Tropes where you get your spoilers from?
mainly, but I got my Zelda spoilers from Zelda Wiki.
Gotcha. I try to go in as like spoiler free as possible with things.
Yeah. Nowadays I do that as well. Like I don't check the TV Tropes page things before I finish them because I found out a few spoilers for Solitaire Robo that way as well. There's also like a lot of the trailers spoil things. Like there's one British trailer that does the amazing feat of both giving away the main plot twist of the game while simultaneously telling you nothing about the actual plot. And there's another one American trailer where they spoil literally the entirety of the second half of the game.
Oof.
Like, they don't even use vague terms, they literally show screenshots of people saying really shocking plot revelations. And by screenshots, I mean footage.
I have spoiled for myself pretty much all of The Last of Us 2 because it wasn't a game I was super interested in due to my mixed feelings on the ending of the first game and a sequel existing in the first place.
Oh, yeah, I heard a lot.
Given all the controversy around it, I had to see what that was at. But I actually just recently picked up the game, so I'm going to try to enjoy it to the best of my ability.
Like, I remember a lot of people didn't like The Last of Us 2, but I can't remember why.
Oh, it's complicated, and my reason for hating is probably very different than a lot of other people's. One of the biggest points of controversy in it is that they kill off the protagonist from the first game very early on in Last of Us 2.
Okay.
And that rubs a lot of people the wrong way because they feel like his death was a little contrived and kind of they were trying to force it. And I do agree with that from what I've seen, but I've also not played through the game myself yet,
Okay.
so I may change my stance
Like,
on that.
I vaguely remember people being upset about the portrayal of some homosexual characters, but I might just be completely misremembering, because this isn't the kind of game I'm interested in.
I don't remember seeing people say stuff about that, but I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case.
Like, I know what The Last of Us is about. It's about a zombie virus that has mutated, that has destroyed most of the human population, and there's this girl called Ellie who's immune to it, and they need to go save the world or something.
The story of the first game is like they're traveling across the United States to get to a group called the Fireflies, who are looking for a cure. So like some parts of the civilization still exist, and it's just kind of about like their road stops along the way. Really good game for the most part. I'm not a huge fan of the way it ended. Specifically, I think the very last line of the game kind of ruined it for me. Like if they had just cut that last line or two.
Talked about that in the really long Q&A video, but I can't remember what it was now.
It's complicated. It's the kind of thing I'd love to do like a more in-depth like covering on one day. But I enjoyed the rest of the game. Like I enjoyed the journey itself. I had a lot of fun with the gameplay. It was very stealth shooter heavy.
Okay. Oh, that also reminds me. The other day I was thinking about how like the most important thing for a story to have is an interesting journey. Because there's this book which is really obscure, so I will forgive you if you haven't heard of it, called Phoenix by SF Said. And it is just one of the most boring things I've ever read. It's basically spends like hundreds of pages talking about... What was that sound?
What?
I thought I heard like a weird voice for a moment.
Oh, my mom is working downstairs. She might, if she went on a call, you might have heard her voice in the background.
Okay. But anyway, like I just kept reading Phoenix because the whole plot is that the main character has the power to spontaneously combust himself and not die. and I wanted to just like keep reading to find out the explanation, especially because I saw someone hype it up on Goodreads, which is the site I don't use anymore because I got bored of it. Although Goodreads is a good place to get lots of stupid reviews, because like one day I want to just do a video where I read a bunch of really weird reviews from database websites. Like there was one review for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone that was written in character as Voldemort, which I liked.
That's great. That is great.
But anyway. But basically, like, it just wasn't interesting because, like, the protagonist's personality was just constantly being unsure of himself. And, like, it just, like, I just remembered, like, I read an article 8 years ago which basically said that male chosen ones were boring because they're basically special because the plot tells them to, and usually they're accompanied by female characters who are more proactive. And that's definitely the case in Phoenix, and also the Dark Crystal, which has one of the most boring protagonists I've ever seen. Like, the Dark Crystal is kind of like the Legend of Spyro in that way, where they put so much focus on making the world look really nice that everything else just feels like an afterthought.
Oof. Big oof for that.
I started watching Age of Resistance last year, and then I never finished it.
I didn't know you played Last of Us Unicorn. In fact, I don't think I knew you owned a PS3. That was like the first game I played when I got my PS3, because I got my PS3 like right after the PS4 came out. Got my first PS3, then I got my second PS3 a few years after that.
Also, kind of like how, like, the, when children are born on the island, they start out with clothes instead of just having, like, generic one, because Iris has the same hoodie as Sarah does.
That is kind of weird how, like, if you raise them as children, then, like, they have an outfit. Because, like, other characters don't start with an outfit. They start with just, like, the default me shirt. I actually don't remember what Iris is in, because we don't ever interact with her. She doesn't ever want anything in our series.
I don't know how to make it so, like, a circle is, like, when you draw shapes, they're only an outline instead of just the whole shape on Fire Alpaca. There's a lot of stuff I don't understand. Like, I decided to get Fire Alpaca for my drawing software because, well, actually, I had this, like, school project where I decided to draw something, but also because I used to go on a website called Chicken Smoothie, and it had, like, a built-in version of Fire Alpaca, but it was simplified, so you couldn't, like, copy and paste and stuff like that. Or, actually, you could use multiple layers, what was about. But that version had, like, multiple colour swatches, and I cannot find it for the life of me on this version.
Would you mind if I were to make a quick bathroom run?
Sure, why not?
Awesome. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh, what are your novellas about, Laura? Oh, okay, then I think you mentioned them to me before, actually. See, like, that's why I appreciated having a co-commentator, because if it's just me on my own, it just starts feeling awkwardly silent. And that just reminded on an episode of QI, they had this, they asked, Sandy asked a question, when does silence become awkward? And then everyone went quiet, and then I think it was either Alan or David Mitchell said, that about that long. Interesting. Oh, I hear tapping.
Can you hear me?
Yes. It was very awkward without
Awesome.
you.
Sorry. Very sorry about that.
What colour are Dakota's striped V-necks? I can't really remember.
Probably-
Purple. That's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say purple's her favorite color, so I'd probably see purple, but I'm sure she has more than one. I'm just trying to catch up in the chat. Let's see. Still hoping for a Kindle edition of the 2 novellas. What 2 novellas is she referring to?
She wrote some books.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
I'd like to publish a book one day.
Yeah.
But first, I'd like to move on from writing fanfiction, because funny story, I wanted to get out of writing Pokemon fanfiction this year, so I did, and now I want to get out of writing My Little Pony fanfiction next year.
I feel like fanfiction is probably a good way to start off, though, just because there's an audience that already exists for it. As opposed to, like, if you start with your own thing, it's like you have to then win people over and get them interested in it in the first place. But hey, that's what we have Tomodachi Life for, I suppose. The boy being held looks like Horrid Henry. That's a girl, thank you very much.
Oh, and also I hated Horrid Henry as a kid, but I just watched it all the time because it was always on.
I don't know what that is.
It's a cartoon based on the book series about this boy called Henry who's horrid, and every kid he knows is named after, is nicknamed after their one personality trait.
Oh.
And the theme song is just someone going na 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 all over and over again.
I've never heard of that before.
Good.
I'll stay away. I will stay far, far away.
Yeah. It was British. I think specifically it aired on CITV. And, okay, I've got tolerance up too high again. Definitely too high. Yeah, I'm actually really glad I found this because it just makes filling things in so much easier.
Gotcha. I don't know anything about fire alpaca, so...
Oh, also, did you know that alpacas hum?
No, I did not know that.
And llamas scream.
I think I knew llama screamed.
Yeah, like I remember looking up a video of what llamas sounded like because I wanted to know, and then like someone in the comments said the mighty Arceus begins to makes a speech or something like that. If you don't know, Arceus is a Pokemon that's basically God, some people like to say it looks like a llama.
Oh, that sounds a little overpowered.
And I
don't know too much about Pokemon, but I assume as the series goes on, there's probably some degree of power creep.
Yes. Not just in terms of lore, but in terms of gameplay as well.
That kind of makes sense though when you have a series like that big and so based around like the concept of getting stronger.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only way to keep it going forwards.
Yeah, like I used to think that Pokemon would end after Generation 4 because I didn't know where they would go from Arceus.
They got nowhere else to go. It's got to be that's like how I felt when I was playing Yoshi's Island as a kid. I get to a level, I'd be like, this is impossible. It has to be the end of the game because there's no way they can make it harder than this.
Oh, funny story. When I first played Yoshi's Island, I found it really hard, but the second time I played it, I found it really easy.
So Yoshi's Island is a game that I do think is very hard your first time through, and it is especially hard if you're going for perfect score in that game. I would go as far as say it's one of the hardest experiences you could have trying to perfect score Yoshi's Island, specifically if you're doing like the GBA version. It is brutally difficult with its platforming, but it's so fun too. I love that game so much.
Like, Yoshi's Island was one of the games I had on my Ambassador 3DS, but then it broke for no reason, so I had to get it on Wii U years later.
Oof.
And it basically, like, my 3DS was working just fine, and then suddenly most of the buttons of the touchscreen stopped working. And I cried really hard, and I was in the middle of, like, I'd almost want to finish the free heart run of Phantom Hourglass.
You didn't send it for repairs or anything, though?
No, because I didn't know if it could be repaired.
Ah.
Also, that eye colour doesn't look very good. Maybe darken it a few shades.
Luckily, I don't think I've ever had a problem with any console really completely breaking on me, other than my fat PS3.
I got this, that was back in 2012, and I got a new 3DS, not the model called New 3DS, a new one that was the same as my old one, the Cosmic Blue Original, and that one's still going just fine, even if the R button is going and the circle pad has fallen off, cover has fallen off.
Oof. I have a day one original 3DS, still pretty good shape, honestly. It's definitely seen better days, but like it still works pretty well.
And sometimes it has a problem recognising DS cartridges, and I don't know if it's because the cartridges are old, or if it's specifically, or the 3DS is old. Like, once I was in, like, sometimes, like, I'll be in the middle of a game, a DS game on my 3DS, and then I'll put the console in sleep mode, and that would jostle it enough for the console to register the card as disconnected, and it's really annoying when that happens.
Oof. Would that make something like Phantom Hourglass unplayable?
Not...
Because, like, you do need to sleep it. You need to put it in sleep mode at least once for that game.
Well, it's not all the time. It's a bit inconsistent with that, and it hasn't done that for a while, thankfully.
Oh, that's good then.
But it mainly happened with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time, which is also a game I've had for a long time, but I gave it to a friend at one point and eventually got that copy back in exchange for some shovelware game both times.
You should put the playground that Sarah plays on the montage. It's like the background for this picture.
Oh.
I don't know how easy that would be, but...
Oh my gosh, that text is massive. 12. Problem is, it doesn't automatically change the size of the text. You have, like, while you're in the editor, unlike Pixlr, which I used to use as my drawing program, but now it's more focused on editing photographs.
Gotcha.
And also on Pixlr, you have way better gradients, because on this, the gradient is literally just the two colours you have in the swatches there. But on Pixlr, you can have, like, loads of colours in the gradient, like... One of the pre-made gradients on there is an entire rainbow.
I think it's so awkward how you have to like open up a little window every time you want to make an adjustment to the text. It's kind of a dumb design choice.
Yeah, Fire Pack is not the most advanced editor in the world.
Rip.
I'm just going to make everything disappear so I can actually fill in the background properly. Actually, I could have just set the tolerance to 100%. That works too. First of all, I was actually picturing... Sarah doesn't... I forgot to colour in. Says, oh, my TV monitor was about to power off because it's been on for too long. Luckily, I caught that. That's right, I envision this is taking place in Dakota's apartment, and I can't remember which one she had at the time.
She had the purple one for a while. I think she's on, like, the blue polka dot one right now.
I'll drill the purple one because I can just literally just smudge a bunch of purple together. Actually, no, that might contrast to look a bit bad against... I'm not
against
good at...
the other purple shirt.
Yeah, I'm not a colour theory expert.
Same, I'm not good with that shit. I'm good at telling if it looks off, but I'm not good at figuring that out before I actually do something.
And also another thing I find annoying is that I get ideas for songs a lot in my head, but I can't write them down because even though I can think of the lyrics, I don't know how to actually write them down as sheet music. And I don't know anyone who can because most people don't have perfect pitch.
Katie's brother has perfect pitch.
My brother's a musician and he doesn't have perfect pitch. He plays the guitar, the piano, and the, what's it called again? And the keyboard. No, the guitar, keyboard, and the drums.
Gotcha.
He was drumming, and once he knew I was recording an episode of my Klonoa Let's Play, specifically I think it was part 3 of my second attempt at it, and you can hear drumming in the background because he played it anyway.
I'm just getting to the part in the stream now where seeing you do like the purple scribbles everywhere. Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, I'm accidentally moving the background. I meant to move the text. Yeah, it just doesn't look quite right. Should I change the font? Oh, oops.
I'll have to wait till the screen catches up so I can see
because the font at the moment is Tahoma.
I think the official font Katie uses for Cambridge Circle is Verdana, if you want to go off that.
Oh, that's interesting. These are in alphabetical order, at least they were at some point, so...
I know, like, the font I use for my branding is usually Tecton.
I don't really have a font. I used to use the Pokemon 8-bit font that I downloaded some off a website once, but for some reason it seems to have vanished from my computer unless I never actually downloaded it on this computer, which is a distinct possibility. Yeah, I think I did only have it on my old laptop because, the reason why I replaced my laptop as well is because it just dies a lot in general. Like, it keeps crashing upon startup, or when I just, like, click on Google Chrome or something, and it's just got really annoying.
That's your old computer?
Yeah, my old laptop specifically, not the one that broke, the second one.
Gotcha.
So I just ended up giving up on it.
Since this is both these pictures have been Tomodachi Life related, I am tempted to give a hint here for the detectives to draw them towards your stream archive.
Sure, why not?
Unicorn, is there anything you think I should drop a hint about? I don't have anything prepared, because I just thought of this.
Because I was intended to draw like art based on all sorts of things based on chat's requests, but only 2 people have showed up, and I think it's because of the time rather than because of me screwing up how the stream began. Because, like, usually...
I feel like a big part of it might just be that's relatively early in the day for a lot of places in the world.
Yeah, because, like, at 3 PM, most people would be at school or work.
Yeah, and over here in the States, it's around noon on the East Coast. So.
Tessellating hexagons is usually a regular in my stream, and he's also British, and he's not in this one, so I assume it's too early for him.
Well, if Unicorn's still here, she can ask something. I can come up with a hint for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could ask, too, because you're part of the detective contest.
Could you give us any more hints towards the purple-haired Mii's identity, because it's not Rarity?
I feel like people are going to be able to figure that one out eventually, just due to other hints I've dropped.
Oh.
Because I gave a few hints about, like categories of characters early on in the season, and I feel like using that, since the purple-haired Mii is going to be one of the last ones for the season, people are probably going to be able to deduce who's still left. But no, that character is not meant to be Rarity, because I didn't know who Rarity was, so people started guessing at her.
Yeah, like, another reason I didn't really draw as much as I hoped in this stream was because it took longer than I expected. So I think after this, I'll just call the stream a day. But we can keep talking for a few more minutes.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Or maybe I could make the background a bit more blurry. Like, that's actually how... Oh, that was a complete mistake. I was on the... I was on the
Your hair
bucket.
is melting.
Well, that's also how I did the thumbnail for the Ever Oasis video. I literally just took some official artwork and then put a huge blur filter over it. And by blur filter, I mean just grated the blur brush really big and then just rubbed it all over it.
Unicorn said I'm asking the wrong person. Oh, well, is there any gaps that you need, like, filled in with hints?
I mean, I haven't actually guessed what the next me will be yet, because I was going to do that stare and I forgot.
Take your time. It's, you got till tomorrow afternoon, so... Feel free to think it through, put your thoughts into words together. I guess one hint I could give is pay attention to the fact that there are going to be Miis who aren't necessarily numbered because they're not going to be permanent residents on the island. If you pay careful attention to my wording, you might be able to figure out where like one of those characters will appear and such.
Okay. And
then
I've been
one more could be that there's another fandom character this season who has not yet appeared. I don't know how much of a hint that is, but it's something I thought of.
I've been called down for dinner, so I guess it's time to end the stream.
Okay. You have yourself a nice dinner.
Bye.